Hello guys and girls, this little video is perhaps something a little bit different from my norm. I want to try and put a message across, and I'm using video to try and do that. Looking at my statistics of subscribers and people that use YouTube and similar sites, very few actually make videos. The overwhelming majority, that's poor English isn't it, but the vast majority don't. And I thought about this and wondered why. I guess you now watching me haven't made a video. The odds are that you haven't. And I say, well, why not? Perhaps you don't know that it can be great fun, and I try and impart my enthusiasm and so forth, and share it with others, and I can tell you I get that back tenfold. I really find it great. I love doing it, and you're missing out if you don't do a video. Perhaps you think, well, perhaps you can't be bothered. Perhaps you think you've got nothing to say. Well, you're definitely wrong there, because whatever your interests, whether it's religion, art, music, science, philosophy, it doesn't matter what it is. If you've got an interest in something, I can assure you there's a group of people out there with exactly the same interests would love to share with you. To prove my point, you're watching me now, aren't you? So I rest my case. Perhaps you think you need expensive equipment. Well, you don't. You don't at all. You can spend as much on a hobby as you want, but you already have most of it. The most expensive piece of equipment you've got, your computer. If you've got a webcam on it, I haven't on this one, then you can start straight away. Perhaps you think you have to be technical or something like that. Well, I can assure you, you don't. I'm certainly not very computer literate. Let's put that on. I use very basic commands and so forth. I take a video with my small camcorder and I load it into Movie Maker, Windows Movie Maker. You've all got it. Go into Windows, and I mean, this is XP, old system, but it does. I'm in the shed, and you know, this is where I play. So must get rid of that annoying noise. So we'll open up Window Movie Maker, get it right, and whatever videos we've made, we'll drop it into there. Now, it's a very versatile program, and I like it. There's some very sophisticated ones out there that do everything, but I've only learned 2% of this. I'm not interested in fades and wipes and transitions, and I'm not after effect. I just simply want to show something. So you've loaded your video in, and it comes up as segments like this, and you just simply go to the storyboard and just drag down whatever parts of the video you want in the order that you want, and if there's one of those you don't want, just right click and it'll go. This is one I did when I was asking help on the GPS, by the way. I still got to do that. And you can push play and it goes along on this timeline, and you can stop it at any time and click cut and let it go to another point. If I move this along, look it, and hit play, it moves along.
Socket at the back.
I can stop it, click cut, right click, delete that part, and that bit goes. If I've made a mistake, just simply come up to undo up here, click, and it's put back again. So it's a very simple program, and an evening playing with this and you've mastered it. You can overlay sound and do all sorts of things. There's a good help position, go into help and it'll tell you how to use this. That's the simplest one I've found, and you've already got it, so you've already got the tools to do the job. Okay, as I said, what you get back, let's get rid of all this, what you get back is far greater than you put into these, I can really assure you. There's some really helpful people out there. If you've got a problem or you want to know how to do something, somebody has made, on YouTube or some other sites, has made a program that will show you how to fix it, how to do it, how they've done it. And I find the community brilliant. I've learned so much. I've learned more on YouTube in the last couple of years I've been doing videos than I think I've learned in decades. It's absolutely amazing. I only wish I had this technology and known these things many, many years ago. I wish I'd had a camcorder many, many, many years ago. I could have shown you so many interesting things and people which no longer exist, alas. Anyway, it can be a lot of fun as well. Most of the comments you get are favourable and praising and so forth, and that's nice to get, of course. Sometimes they're a bit critical. Well, that's okay if it's constructive criticism, but just occasionally you'll get the nasty trolls, I think you call them. Well, don't worry about those people, they're really saddos. I've tried to find out what videos they do. They never do any, never. And if you go to their site, you can see the comments they made on other people's videos, and they're all vile or foul-mouthed. Or you go on their site and you'll get F off or something equally as repellent. So it's not worth, you know, just feel sorry for these saddos. Don't worry about them. But the vast majority are so helpful. I can't tell you the pleasure that a lot have given me. But you do have to be a little bit careful, because some things, some words mean different things in different countries and cultures. What can I say for an example? A lot of my waffles, and the word waffle in the UK means to talk at some length, but not really impart a lot of knowledge or information, just to waffle on, to chat. But in the States it means food. Some guy comes back and he says, you get more hits if you didn't talk about food on your... Something that doesn't travel to the States, and hey, I'm not knocking the States, a wonderful country, I'd love to come and visit. But using my big broad brush, you do not get irony. Being ironic, irony, it means you're saying something but you don't really mean it. In fact, you might very well mean the opposite. To give you an example, recently I said something, can't remember the exact quote, but I said something like, there's a couple of guys in white coats who want to take me away. Well, I didn't mean it. Someone said, was I going into hospital? That put a smile on my face all day. So meanings can have different things, you just sort of have to watch a bit. But anyway, I'm trying to put the message across that if you're not making a video, you are losing out. Believe me, you are losing out. And I'd rather play with this and go on the internet, now that I'm just beginning to find out how it works, than watch TV and all the rubbish that's on there, all the adverts and these horrible X Factors and other crass programs. Oh dear, oh dear. At least you can select and delete and go where you want to on the internet. So I think it's a great medium, and we're very lucky to have this, and I've come to it very late in life, I can tell you. My granddaughter, what is she, 7, 11? She, you know, Granddad, you got to do this, you want to do that. I'm absolutely amazed. And there isn't a day go by without me learning something. Anyway, that's enough waffle. Let's just get in, that's enough talk. Let's get into some actual practicalities if I've managed to persuade you to make a video, or at least to consider it. Okay, let's move on. Are you still with me? Oh, that's good. Okay, if this is your first video, here's a few tips you might find helpful. When I first started I made a few mistakes, and you will too, but it doesn't matter. But the first thing I would say is, if you're trying to impart some information, speak clearly, don't mumble. You find a lot of videos where someone's mumbling, or the camera shooting all over the shop. Totally unnecessary. An absolute no-no. Do not put music on your video in the background. Even the so-called professionals get this wrong. It detracts from what you're trying to say, and it's absolutely pointless. You will never get the levels correct, and worse than this, what you think is the best piece of music you've ever heard, someone else thinks is a load of old. So don't do it. Don't put music on. It's absolutely a no-no. Okay, so you can learn what to do and what not to do. Probably what not to do by some of the videos you've seen. You don't need flashy banners and silly graphics and goodness knows what. Put the message across, and you can embellish things later on, but put the message across is the first thing. How to do this? Well, you want to do a good one if you can. I know my first ones were a bit rubbishy, and I tried to make notes on pieces of paper and so forth, and it sounds like you're reading it. It comes out all wooden. Then I decided to put a few comments on a little dictation machine. Forget it. Forget all that. It's a lot of you tend to like the type of presentation I give, and I just give it as it is. I'm talking to you as a friend. You don't read from a script, or when you're talking to your best buddy or your neighbour or something, do you? So it doesn't matter that you put in a few ims and ers and buts and get the words wrong. You know, it comes across more natural if you don't. Just say what you want to say. If you really make a faux pas, well, you can always edit it out, do it again. It doesn't really matter. And I find that sort of presentation, the one I'm doing now, is, well, for the audience I have, tend to appreciate that. So keep it simple. Keep it simple. Okay then, well, to continue. At one time I was very interested in sound, music, playing with synthesizers and manipulating sound, and I did a few talks at the local radio club, and I soon realized it was important to put the message you wanted across at a particular level. And that's the second tip of this video. At what level do you put a process, a description or something across? Well, my rule of thumb is, if you go in too simply, how to put a nut on a bolt and so forth, you make it absolutely boring, it gets drawn out, and people are going to switch off, go to sleep, whatever. If you go in at a too high a level, people aren't going to understand a word you're on about. You're also going to lose them. And if not, they're going to ask questions, and you're going to get why questions. And once you get a why, you get more why questions. If you don't know what I mean by that, go and hunt out Richard Feynman why video. He puts it better than I could. So it's very difficult at what level to put it across. I'm often asked on various things I do, have I got a cutting list, have I got plans and so forth. Well, I haven't. I never got plans. I never worked to plans. How can I explain this best? I really work with sort of what's in my head and what I know. The level, okay, I'll try and put this better. The level I put out is the level that I would want to receive when I'm researching something. I don't want to know how to put the nut on the bolt. I merely want to know that the nut and the bolt exist in the process. So in other words, I want a leg up in the right direction. I will then go out and I will find or research what I need is missing. So it's just that point in the right direction that I need, and I try to see if I can make it better, make it simpler. 99.99 times I don't and can't, but the fun is in the trying. So that's quite a major tip, at what level to put it across. Am I labouring the point? Perhaps I am. Perhaps I better move on. Move on. Okay then, well, what equipment do I use? Well, this is my little camera. It's a very basic, low entry little camcorder. Had it many years now. It's a Panasonic NV GS27. As I say, it's pretty basic. Cost something in the region of about 140, 150 quid new. But you can now pick them up on eBay, 20, 30, 40 odd quid with very little trouble. I absolutely love this little camera. It's simple to use. The quality's pretty good. It's not HD, but it's pretty good. And I'm very pleased with it. You can swivel the screen round to the front, so you can actually see, record yourself if need be. It's very easy to use. The medium that it records to is little tiny discs, tapes rather, I beg your pardon, slip of the tongue, tapes. It's a miniature VCR, if you like. I like this sort of medium. It's tangible, you can store it, you can protect the tape so it doesn't get recorded on. Flash cards and memory cards and all this sort of thing, it's one click away from losing a file, isn't it? I don't really like that. So I can wholeheartedly recommend a little camera like this. It's not too expensive to leave in the glove compartment of your car, and just use general purpose. I really like it. The standard battery will last you nearly an hour. The tapes last for about an hour, and they're cheap. What I particularly like about this one, quick story, is I decided to upgrade and bought myself a very expensive Hitachi, can't remember the model. I had it about 3 weeks and I put it on eBay and made a big loss. I couldn't get on with it. I didn't like it. Full of bells and whistles, things you never use, totally complicated. Everything was done touch screen on here, so your hand was always in the way. And something that really annoyed me was because everything was done on the screen, sometimes if you was out and it was bright sunlight, you couldn't see what you was shooting because of the light on the screen, and you're trying to protect it all the time. A little bit like when you get a text message on your phone in the daylight in the street, and you're putting it under your coat to try and read what the message says. Damn nuisance. Well, that doesn't happen with this old hat stuff. You simply pull out a viewfinder and you look through there. At least you can see what you're shooting. Albeit it's in black and white, but it comes out in colour, of course. Another thing I didn't like about the Hitachi, I thought they'd penny pinched. They'd gone through all the bells and whistles and fell down on basic functions. The leads that connect to your computer and so forth, they were short. I mean, they'd penny pinched on the length of the lead, so you had to hang with your head over the back of the telly or your computer trying to stretch to get that. No, ridiculous. I didn't like it. So it would be nice to have HD, but I'm going to stick with this. Every video I've made to date, apart from this very small 1-minute clip now, which is done on a borrowed camera, has been done on this. So if you haven't got one, I'd highly recommend it. It's they're good value for money, and well, you can always go and spend more dosh if you want to go sort of semi-professional or something like that. But we're not talking about Steven Spielberg, we're talking about poor old chap and a handycam. So that's the basic camera. This is the setup I use in my workshop. It has far better lighting and you should see an improvement in picture quality. I can adjust the type of light the camera sees. If I go in manual mode to tungsten or fluorescent or natural and so forth. But I leave it in manual. That's not ideal, but you have to remember I'm producer and director and cameraman and presenter, sound engineer, washer up and tea boy. So I leave it on automatic and just simply try to get the message across. I'm not out for prizes in quality control, but just to sort of to deviate slightly, I have here a small switcher box. The output from my camera is audio and left and right, video, I beg your pardon, yellow and left and right, audio out into phono plugs. I have got a USB out which can go directly into software with the computers, but I've already told you computers and me aren't the best of friends, so I like to manipulate things physically. So you don't have to do this, but this is the way I particularly work. I wanted a switcher box as I've got here, and I think I went into Maplin's and I thought, let me see now, I can make up a switcher box. I want a dozen phono sockets. I want 6 plugs at the moment. I want a switch. I want some mesh socket. I want a box. Anyway, I added it up and it was well over 40 quid. And I thought, blimey, now I've got to make it. And anyway, I found this in a bin. £8.99. That's a no-brainer, isn't it? Anyway, as I say, the lighting in here is far superior. That's something to watch when you're making videos, of course. Sound. And I always put my camera on a tripod. Let's see if I can pan back and go up. Here we go. The camera's on a tripod. I'm looking into a mirror, so bear with me. Because I'm all the people working the camera in one, it's essential that you put it on something like this. Well, how else can you do it if you're on your own? Because I use this type of output, I find these handy too. These are SCART plugs with phonos in the back. Again, audio and video in, which means I can put in separate audio if I want to dub over the top. Yes, I know you can do it in Movie Maker and other programs, but I can physically do it here, and I understand that, and I haven't got to fight the computer. Another thing I do on the workbench, let's get this mirror out of the way. I'm going to break that, that's it. Another thing I do in the workshop, pan back, will it go back farther? No, that'll have to do. I don't want that, let's do the mirror against that. Aye. Another thing I do, because I can't look at the camera, because I can't look at the camera, because I can't see the little viewfinder, and it'd be small anyway, I can't see where I am in the shot to do anything. So I link up the audio video to a small telly off to one side. Now I've got multiple images here because the camera is looking at the telly, so it repeats. But I don't see that when I'm looking at something on the bench. I see what you see. But there's a little bit of a problem here because you're looking again at mirror fashion. And when you're trying to present something and I move my hand, left is right and right is left, and that's a bit confusing, which is why you're sometimes going the wrong way. But
But I find that quite handy. And a little thing I put on top here, on top of the telly, I've mounted a small piece of wood with a little stud in it. And it's possible to put the camera on top there and face it to the interviewer or the person talking. I tend to avoid my face as much as possible because I don't really want to scare you, but on the occasions I do. It sits on there and it looks, because I'm looking at the monitor or the telly, it looks as though I'm speaking directly at you. So that's a handy little tip. Okay, we'll move on.